Hey, my name is Betsy Johnson, and today I am sharing my personal discipline plan for my advanced classroom management grad class with Dr. Fickling. My personal theory of classroom discipline is that discipline is about teaching, not punishing. When students misbehave, I use those moments to model, reteach, and guide behavior, which aligns with our book study with Charles and Cole. I also believe that relationships come before compliance. When students feel respected and valued, they are more likely to make positive choices and engage in learning. One of my favorite quotes is from Dr. James Comer, and it says, "No significant learning can occur without first building a significant relationship." My whole classroom management philosophy, since I started teaching over 25 years ago, has been modeled on this one quote, and you will see it throughout my entire presentation. Structure and consistency are key in my classroom. Clear expectations and routines help create a safe environment in which students can succeed and be successful. I make it a point to explicitly teach responsibility by modeling expectations and revisiting regularly so students can continue to grow. And finally, strong instruction and engagement are my best tools for prevention. When students are actively involved, it minimizes disruption and it keeps the focus on learning, which is a reoccurring thing I've seen in many classroom management strategies as we read this semester. My professional demeanor focuses on creating a structured and respectful classroom where my expectations and routines are clearly taught and consistently reinforced, as I learned from Everston and Emmer. I want to build trust through a respectful communication by focusing on behavior, not the child. Gennett argues that how teachers speak to students shape the classroom climate, and that maintaining a respectful tone helps preserve students' dignity while still correcting that misbehavior. I also make it a priority to listen to my students and understand their perspectives, knowing that empathy strengthens relationships. Creating a safe and supportive environment is essential because students learn best when they feel valued and included. Finally, I want to balance authority with fairness and respect for students' rights to build a classroom grounded in trust and accountability. Gross versus Lopez, as I've read about this semester, supports a classroom approach in which teachers' authority is balanced with respect for student rights, helping build trust and accountability, and a sense of justice in the learning environment. Outlined 5 core classroom rules that guide my learning environment. Now, I have to say that majority of my classroom rules are grounded in Wong's The First Day of School book. Not only because this was the foundational framework in my teaching program at Campbell, but also because over the course of my 25-year career, I have found it emphasizes on clear procedures and consistently it's very consistent to be a time tested and highly effective approach to classroom management. First, follow directions the first time. Help maximize instruction time and ensure smooth transition. Second, raising hands and waiting to be called on ensures that all students have a voice and are heard respectfully. Staying on task and participating actively in essential is very essential because engagement directly impacts student success and confidence. Again, supported by the Wong and the Wong's work on structures focused classrooms. Respecting others, their space, and materials helps create a safe and supportive environment where all students in my class can feel valued. And finally, being prepared and ready to learn each day shows responsibility and sets the tone for my productive learning. Overall, these rules are not just expectations, they are grounded in research and they support a structured, respectful, and engaging classroom. I want to focus on proactive strategies for preventing inappropriate behavior before it begins. First, I want to teach and model clear expectations and routines so students know exactly what to expect. This is supported by Morris, who emphasizes that behavior improves when expectations are explicitly taught and practiced. Next, I want to establish a consistent structure and follow through. According to Saganti, consistency reduces confusion and it helps students feel more secure within clear boundaries. Building positive relationships between teachers and students early on is one of the keys to my classroom management. Morris highlights that strong relationships increase respect and cooperation, therefore reducing disruptions in the classroom. Also, plan engaging, well paced lessons. Saganti notes that when students are actively involved, they are less likely to become bored or act out. Finally, I want to address small behaviors early before they escalate. Morris explains that early intervention helps maintain a productive and focused classroom environment. These strategies are grounded in research and allow me to create a classroom where positive behavior is taught, supported, and sustained. I focus on communicating expectations clearly to all stakeholders. First, I always share my plan with my administrator early to ensure alignment and transparency. Kagan emphasizes that proactive communication supports consistent discipline practices across the school. Next, I explicitly teach and model expectations for my students. According to Kagan, structured communication helps students clearly understand what to do and how to behave. I also use cooperative learning structures daily. These strategies promote teamwork, respect, and shared responsibility among my students. Regular communication with parents is another very important key opponent. Kagan notes that keeping families informed helps create consistency between home and school connection. Finally, I frame my discipline as win win. This approach, based on Kagan's win win discipline theory, focuses on helping students understand the purpose behind expectations so that they can make positive choices. I want to focus on promoting student motivation and engagement in my classroom. First, I focus on motivation rather than just rules. Marshall explains that when students are actively engaged through movement and meaningful tasks, they are more likely to stay focused and invested in their learning. I also want to provide students with ownership and choice. Glasser emphasized that giving students a voice in problem solving increases their energy, their responsibility, and their commitment. Meeting students' basic needs is another important factor for me. According to Glasser, students are more motivated when their needs for belonging, power, freedom, and fun are all met together. I teach and I want to stress that I teach self regulation skills to help students manage their own behavior. Marshall highlights that this approach builds independence and reduces the need for constant teacher control. Finally, the goal is to help students become confident, self directed learners. As supported by Marshall and Glasser, a classroom focused on motivation and engagement fosters a positive environment in which students will take ownership of their own learning. And in the end, that's what we all want. We want a student led classroom where they take responsibility of their own learning. Overall, these strategies help creates a classroom that's energetic, student centered, and built on lasting engagement. Here is a list of all the references that I use to model and create my own classroom management plan. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.